Hello, my dear friends. It is so wonderful to see you here today. My name is Sarah, and I am very happy that you are joining me. Today, we are going to talk about something very special and personal, my favorite hobby. Hobbies are an important part of our lives. They give us joy, relaxation, and a chance to explore ourselves. Everyone has hobbies, and they can be different. Some like sports, some enjoy drawing, some prefer reading, and others like music or cooking. Hobbies help us learn new skills, express ourselves, and feel happy in our free time. In this lesson, I will share my favorite hobby with you step by step. I will explain why I love it, how I practice it, the challenges I face, and how it makes me feel. You will also learn new words that will help you talk about your hobbies in English. Don't worry if you don't understand everything at first. I will speak slowly and clearly. You can listen carefully and repeat the sentences after me. Step by step, your English will improve. So, take a deep breath, relax, and enjoy the story about my favorite hobby. Let's begin together. Episode 1: Discovering my hobby. When I first discovered my hobby, I did not know how much it would change my life. I remember the day clearly. I was feeling curious about something creative, something that could express my thoughts and feelings. At home, I saw my parents painting on canvas sometimes. Their colors, brushes, and the way they transformed a blank canvas into something beautiful amazed me. I wanted to try it too. I started with a small notebook and some colored pencils. At first, I drew simple shapes, circles, squares, and small flowers. My lines were not perfect, and my colors were uneven. But I felt excited. Something inside me said, "Keep going, this is the start of something wonderful." I practiced every day, even if it was only for 15 or 20 minutes. Small steps added up quickly. With time, I began to learn different techniques. I experimented with shading, blending colors, and drawing simple figures. Some days, I made mistakes, but I never felt discouraged. Each mistake taught me something new. I learned that being patient and persistent is very important in any hobby. My small drawings slowly improved. I started to feel proud of my work. The blank pages no longer scared me. They became a place where my imagination could grow freely. I also began to notice how this hobby affected my feelings. When I was sad or stressed, drawing helped me calm down. My mind focused on colors, shapes, and patterns instead of worries. I could express emotions that I could not always explain with words. Happiness, excitement, curiosity, and even frustration, my drawings captured them all. This made me feel lighter and more peaceful. Over time, I invested in more materials, watercolor paints, markers, and bigger sketchbooks. Each new tool opened new possibilities. Watercolors made soft and delicate pictures. Markers created bold and strong shapes. Each material taught me a new way to think and express myself. I also started looking at the work of other artists for inspiration. Some of them painted landscapes, others drew portraits, and some created abstract art. Observing their techniques inspired me to try new styles. I learned that creativity has no limits. I could combine different styles, invent my own patterns, and use colors that expressed my mood. Practicing my hobby also improved my focus and concentration. When I was drawing, I could sit for a long time without noticing how much time had passed. I paid attention to details, the angle of a line, the blending of colors, and the proportions of figures. This patience and concentration helped me in other areas of my life too, like schoolwork and problem solving. I realized that hobbies are not just fun, they are also a form of personal growth. I became more organized because I needed a clean space to work. I became more creative because I always thought of new ideas for my art. I became more confident because I could see my skills improving over time. Sometimes, I would create drawings to give to my family and friends. Their smiles and compliments made me feel proud. Sharing my work reminded me that hobbies can connect people, inspire them, and create joy. I understood that a hobby is not only about personal pleasure but also about sharing happiness with others. As I continued practicing, I also faced challenges. Some drawings did not turn out as I wanted. Colors would mix incorrectly, lines would be crooked, and ideas would sometimes feel impossible to draw. But I learned to keep trying. I realized that challenges are a natural part of learning. Every time I overcame a mistake, I grew stronger and more skilled. Through this process, I also discovered the importance of patience, discipline, and reflection. After finishing a drawing, I would take a few minutes to observe it carefully. I noted what I liked, what could be better, and what I learned for the next time. This reflection helped me continuously improve. Practicing my hobby became a daily routine. Some days, I drew for a long time, while other days only for a few minutes. The important thing was consistency. Each day, even a small effort, helped me progress. Slowly, my hobby became an essential part of my life. It gave me joy, taught me skills, and allowed me to express myself in ways words could not. I also realized that hobbies like mine can inspire others. Sometimes friends would see my work and want to try drawing too. I shared tips, materials, and encouragement. Seeing them enjoy the process made me happy. I understood that hobbies have a ripple effect. They can bring people together, create happiness, and inspire growth. Practicing my hobby also improved my observation skills. I began noticing colors, patterns, and shapes in everyday life. A flower on the street, a sunset, or even a cup on the table became inspiration for my drawings. I learned that art is everywhere. It is about seeing the world with attention and imagination. Finally, I realized that my hobby is not just a pastime, it is a journey. A journey of creativity, patience, learning, and self-expression. Every time I pick up my brush or pencil, I feel excited, calm, and focused. Every creation, big or small, is a step forward. My dear friends, this was the story of how I discovered my favorite hobby and why it became important to me. In the next episode, we will talk about the tools and materials I use, how I organize my workspace, and the small daily habits that help me practice my hobby. Get ready to listen to Episode 2. Episode 2: Tools, Materials, and Daily Practice. Every hobby requires some tools and materials, and mine is no exception. When I started, I only had a small notebook and a set of colored pencils. Those simple supplies were enough to begin, but as I became more serious, I realized that having the right materials could improve my experience and help me learn faster. I have a special shelf at home where I keep my hobby supplies. The shelf is organized carefully. On the top, I have my sketchbooks, arranged from smallest to largest. Each sketchbook holds a different stage of my journey. Some contain my first drawings, and others hold more recent pieces. Looking at them, I can see my progress over time. Next to the sketchbooks, I keep my colored pencils. I have many different colors, from basic reds, blues, and yellows to shades of green, purple, and brown. Each color has a purpose. Sometimes I use bright colors to show happiness or energy. Other times, I choose softer shades to create calm and peaceful scenes. The pencils are sharpened regularly so that the lines I draw are precise. Below the pencils, I have markers. Markers are bold and make my work stand out. I use them for outlines, adding details, and making certain parts of my drawings more noticeable. Markers are fun, but they require practice because the color spreads quickly. I always keep a piece of scrap paper nearby to test the color before using it in my artwork. Watercolors are another part of my materials. Watercolors are soft and delicate. I love the way the colors mix on paper, creating new shades and subtle patterns. Using watercolors takes patience. If I add too much water, the color can spread in ways I do not want. If I use too little, the paint looks dry. Each time I use watercolors, I learn more about balance and control. I also keep brushes of different sizes. Small brushes are for details like leaves, eyes, or intricate designs. Larger brushes are for backgrounds, skies, or filling spaces with color. Choosing the right brush is important. Sometimes I experiment with a brush I do not usually use and discover new textures and effects. Besides pencils, markers, and paints, I also have erasers, sharpeners, rulers, and palettes. These small tools seem simple, but they make a big difference. An eraser allows me to correct mistakes without ruining the paper. A sharpener ensures my pencils create clean lines. The ruler helps with straight edges and symmetry. Even the palette, where I mix colors, is essential for experimenting and creating unique shades. Having a clean and organized workspace is also very important. My desk is my hobby space. I always keep it tidy. A cluttered desk makes me feel anxious, while a clean space helps me focus and be creative. I arrange my materials neatly before starting. The pencils are in a cup, the sketchbook is open, and the water cup for my brushes is filled. Every time I sit down to work, I feel calm and ready. Daily practice is the key to improving any hobby. I try to dedicate at least 1 hour every day to drawing or painting. On some days, I practice longer if I feel inspired. On other days, I might only have a few minutes, but even that small effort counts. Consistency is more important than time spent in a single session. During my practice, I always start with a warm-up. I make small sketches, simple lines, and basic shapes to get my hand ready. This helps me draw more smoothly and prevents frustration. After warming up, I usually decide what to create for the session. Sometimes it is a drawing from imagination. Other times, I copy an image from a book or take inspiration from the world around me. Observation is a big part of daily practice. I look carefully at objects, people, and nature. A leaf, a flower, a cup on the table, or the sunlight on the floor, anything can be inspiration. I pay attention to details, the texture, the shape, and the colors. Observing carefully helps me recreate these details in my drawings. I also set small goals for each practice session. For example, today I might focus on shading a face correctly or blending colors in a landscape. These small goals give me direction and motivation. After finishing, I review my work. I note what worked well and what can be improved next time. Reflection is a crucial part of growth. Sometimes, I face challenges during daily practice. Colors do not mix as I want, a line may be crooked, or the proportions may look wrong. At first, these problems were frustrating. But now, I see challenges as opportunities. Each problem teaches me patience, observation, and problem-solving skills. Overcoming difficulties makes the hobby even more rewarding. I also like to experiment. Even if I am not sure how something will turn out, I try it. Mixing unusual colors, trying a new technique, or drawing an object I have never drawn before. Experimentation allows creativity to flourish. Sometimes the result surprises me and becomes my favorite work. Sometimes it does not, but it is always a learning experience. Daily practice is not only about creating finished art. It is also about building discipline, focus, and creativity. Over time, I notice that I become more patient, detail-oriented, and confident. My hobby influences my daily life. I become more attentive to the small things, more reflective about my actions, and more willing to try new things. Sometimes, I combine my hobby with other activities. I might listen to music while drawing, which relaxes me and inspires ideas. I may also watch tutorial videos to learn new techniques or styles. Learning from others and combining it with my own creativity is a wonderful experience. Through daily practice, I also develop a sense of pride and accomplishment. When I complete a drawing or a painting, I feel satisfaction. I can see my progress, my growth, and my improvement over time. Each completed piece, no matter how small, motivates me to continue. Sharing my work with family and friends is another important part of daily practice. Their feedback, smiles, and compliments encourage me. Sometimes they give constructive advice, and I take it positively. Sharing my hobby makes me feel connected and inspired. I have also noticed that daily practice improves my focus in other areas of life. When I concentrate on a drawing for an hour, I develop patience and attention that helps in schoolwork, reading, or solving problems. My hobby teaches me life skills beyond the art itself. Finally, daily practice has taught me joy and mindfulness. When I am focused on my hobby, I forget worries and distractions. I live in the moment, fully immersed in creativity. This calm, focused state refreshes my mind and energizes me for other activities in the day. My dear friends, this was the story of the tools, materials, and daily practice that help me enjoy my hobby and grow step by step. In the next episode, we will talk about the challenges I face while practicing my hobby, how I overcome them, and the lessons I learn from mistakes. Get ready to listen to Episode 3. Episode 3: Challenges and Mistakes in My Hobby. Every hobby comes with challenges, and mine is no exception. Even after months of practice, I still face difficulties almost every day. Some challenges are small, like not mixing colors correctly, while others are bigger, like drawing a complex object that requires patience and focus. Facing these challenges is part of the process. I have learned that mistakes are not failures, they are opportunities to learn and improve. One of the first challenges I faced was drawing realistic proportions. When I started, my sketches often looked funny or awkward. Faces did not look right, hands were too big or too small, and objects sometimes seemed flat. At first, this discouraged me. I wanted every drawing to be perfect. But then I realized that perfection is not the goal. Improvement and learning are the goals. I decided to observe real-life objects and people more carefully. I studied how shadows fell, how the body moved, and how light affected colors. This practice slowly helped me draw more accurately. Another challenge is patience. Some drawings take hours or even days to complete. In the beginning, I felt frustrated when I could not finish quickly. I wanted instant results. But my hobby taught me that patience is part of the creative process. Every careful stroke, every measured line, and every small detail matters. I remind myself to take breaks, breathe deeply, and continue with calm focus. Over time, patience has become one of the most important lessons I have learned. Mistakes in color blending are also very common. Sometimes, I mix two colors and the result is not what I expected. The paper can become too wet, the color too bright, or too dull. At first, I felt upset. But now, I see these mistakes as experiments. Even if a color does not turn out as I planned, it may create an unexpected effect. Some of my favorite artworks were created when a mistake turned into a happy surprise. Mistakes teach me flexibility and creativity. Time management is another challenge. When I practice my hobby, I sometimes lose track of time. Hours pass, and I realize I have not done my homework, chores, or other responsibilities. Balancing my hobby with other parts of life is important. I have learned to set a schedule, a certain time for practice and a certain time for schoolwork or family activities. Time management allows me to enjoy my hobby without feeling stressed or guilty. I also face challenges in learning new techniques. Sometimes, I see advanced tutorials online, and the methods seem difficult. For example, realistic shading, perspective drawing, or watercolor blending can be complicated. At first, I wanted to give up. But then I decided to try small steps. I practice one technique at a time, breaking it down into simple exercises. By repeating these exercises, I gradually improve. Learning step by step makes even difficult techniques achievable. Another challenge is dealing with self-doubt. There are moments when I look at my drawings and feel that they are not good enough. I compare my work to others and think I will never be as talented. These thoughts can be discouraging. But I remind myself that everyone starts somewhere, and growth takes time. I focus on my own progress, not on comparisons. I celebrate small victories and improvements. Over time, confidence replaces self-doubt. Criticism is also a part of facing challenges. Sometimes friends or family offer suggestions that I might not agree with. At first, I felt defensive or upset. But now, I listen carefully, considering their advice without losing my own style. Constructive criticism is valuable. It shows me ways to improve and inspires me to try new approaches. Learning to accept feedback gracefully is an important life lesson from my hobby. Another challenge is physical endurance. Long practice sessions can make my hand tired or my eyes strained. I have learned to take short breaks, stretch my fingers, and rest my eyes. This small habit prevents fatigue and allows me to continue practicing without pain. Caring for my body is as important as caring for my skills. Sometimes, I face challenges when creating from imagination. Drawing what I see is easier than drawing something completely new. Creating imaginary worlds, characters, or scenes can be difficult. I solve this challenge by using reference materials and brainstorming ideas first. I make rough sketches, notes, and plan colors before starting the final piece. Planning helps my imagination flow smoothly and reduces mistakes. Motivation is another challenge. On some days, I do not feel like practicing at all. Maybe I am tired, stressed, or distracted. On these days, I remind myself why I started my hobby. I look at my previous work, remember the joy I felt while creating, and tell myself that even a small effort today is better than nothing. Motivation comes from seeing my own growth and remembering the happiness my hobby brings. Problem solving is an essential skill I develop through challenges. For example, when I make a mistake in a drawing, I think of ways to correct it or transform it into a new design. Sometimes I cover the mistake with another layer of color. Sometimes I add details to integrate it into the picture, and sometimes I start again with a new approach. Each challenge improves my problem-solving skills. Another challenge is consistency. Practicing daily can feel repetitive or boring at times. I overcome this by changing my approach, trying new styles, experimenting with materials, or setting creative goals. Variety keeps practice exciting and prevents burnout. Consistency is the key to long-term improvement. Facing challenges also teaches resilience. When a drawing does not turn out as expected, I do not give up. I try again, adjust my approach, and continue. Each time I overcome a challenge, I feel stronger and more capable. Resilience learned in my hobby helps me in other areas of life, like school, friendships, and family relationships. One unexpected challenge is perfectionism. I sometimes want every line and color to be flawless. This can make me hesitant to start or finish a drawing. I remind myself that perfection is not necessary. The joy of creating, learning, and expressing myself is far more important than perfection. Accepting imperfection allows me to enjoy the process fully. I also face challenges when comparing myself to artists online. Social media shows professional work that can feel intimidating. I have learned to use this as inspiration, not discouragement. I focus on learning techniques, exploring ideas, and growing at my own pace. Comparison is natural, but it should not limit creativity. Time pressure can also be challenging. Sometimes I have deadlines for school projects, competitions, or personal goals. Managing time effectively while keeping creativity alive requires planning, focus, and flexibility. I learn to prioritize tasks, estimate how long a drawing will take, and adjust my schedule when necessary. Emotional challenges sometimes arise too. When I am stressed or sad, creating can feel difficult. But surprisingly, my hobby also helps me cope. Drawing allows me to express feelings that are hard to put into words. Even when I do not feel motivated, A short session can lift my mood and bring calm. My hobby becomes a form of emotional balance. Collaboration is another challenge I encounter. Occasionally, I work with friends on a project or share ideas for group activities. We have different styles, opinions, and approaches. Learning to communicate, compromise, and respect others' creativity is a valuable lesson. Collaboration strengthens social skills and teaches empathy. Sometimes, storage and space become challenges. As my collection of completed works grows, I need room to store them carefully. I organize my drawings, label them, and keep them safe from damage. Proper storage ensures that my efforts are preserved and allows me to reflect on progress over time. Finally, maintaining long-term commitment is a challenge. When life gets busy with school, chores, or family responsibilities, it is easy to skip practice. I have learned that even a few minutes a day maintain continuity. Small, consistent efforts accumulate into significant progress over months and years. Overcoming challenges in my hobby teaches me resilience, patience, creativity, problem-solving, and focus. Each difficulty faced, each mistake corrected, and each moment of self-reflection strengthens not only my skills but also my character. Challenges are not obstacles, they are stepping stones toward growth. My dear friends, this was the story of the challenges I face in my hobby and how I learn from mistakes and difficulties. In the next episode, we will talk about the joy of sharing my hobby, inspiring others, and connecting with people who enjoy the same activities. Get ready to listen to Episode 4. Episode 4: Sharing my hobby and connecting with others. One of the most exciting parts of having a hobby is sharing it with others. My hobby is not only about personal enjoyment, it also allows me to connect with friends, family, and even strangers who share similar interests. When I show my drawings to others, I feel a mixture of pride and nervousness. Will they like my work? Will they understand my style? These questions appear every time, but the joy of sharing outweighs the worries. I often start by showing my family. My parents are always supportive. They look carefully at my drawings, notice small details, and ask questions about my techniques. For example, my father might ask, "How did you blend these colors so smoothly?" And my mother might say, "I love how the light shines in this corner." Their encouragement gives me confidence. Even small words like "well done" make me smile and inspire me to continue improving. Sharing with friends is different but equally exciting. Some of my friends enjoy drawing too, while others prefer other hobbies. When we exchange our creations, we talk about what we like and what challenges we faced. Sometimes, we give each other suggestions on technique, color, or composition. These friendly critiques help me see my work from new perspectives. They also teach me to accept advice gracefully and consider different viewpoints. Social media has become another way to share my hobby. I post my drawings online and receive comments, likes, and messages from people all over the world. Reading their reactions makes me feel connected to a wider community. Some comments are simple, like nice colors, while others provide constructive advice. Each message is a reminder that my hobby can reach beyond my home or school. It is a way to communicate with people I have never met but who share my passion. Sometimes, I participate in local art clubs or workshops. Meeting other hobbyists face-to-face is a special experience. We discuss techniques, share ideas, and even collaborate on projects. I have learned that everyone has a unique perspective. Watching someone else create helps me understand new methods and styles. Collaboration brings energy, inspiration, and motivation. I also notice that supporting others encourages them to support me. Creativity thrives in a positive, encouraging environment. One of the most rewarding experiences is teaching others. When a friend or younger student wants to learn, I enjoy explaining simple steps, demonstrating techniques, and guiding them patiently. Teaching reinforces my own skills. Explaining how to blend colors, draw shadows, or plan a composition requires me to think carefully. I also see the joy on their faces when they succeed. Their happiness becomes my motivation. Teaching reminds me that my hobby is not just for myself, it can bring joy to others. Community challenges and competitions are another way I share my hobby. Participating in events, either online or in person, pushes me to practice, improve, and present my best work. Sometimes, I win small awards, but more importantly, I gain experience and meet new people. These challenges teach me sportsmanship, humility, and perseverance. Even when I do not win, I feel proud of my effort and the progress I have made. Competitions also expose me to different artistic styles, broadening my understanding and inspiring new ideas. Another way I share my hobby is by combining it with other interests. For example, I might create illustrations for a short story I wrote or design decorations for a school project. Integrating my hobby with other activities allows me to see its practical applications. It gives me a sense of purpose and accomplishment. The drawings become not only a personal achievement but also a meaningful contribution to a project, event, or story. I also use my hobby to connect with nature. Drawing landscapes, trees, flowers, or animals encourages me to observe the world closely. I notice details that might have gone unnoticed. The shape of a leaf, the pattern of a feather, or the color of the sky at sunset. Sharing these drawings with others allows them to see the beauty I notice. Art becomes a bridge between my perspective and the world around me. Sharing my hobby digitally is another form of connection. I participate in online art forums, watch tutorial videos, and join live drawing sessions. These platforms allow me to ask questions, give advice, and learn from experienced artists. I have met mentors who guide me and friends who cheer me on. Online communities remind me that my hobby is part of a global network of creativity. Even if we never meet in person, we inspire and support each other. Sometimes, I create gifts using my hobby. I draw a small picture for a friend's birthday, design a card for a teacher, or make illustrations for my siblings. Giving these gifts is more meaningful than simply showing my work. They carry emotion, thoughtfulness, and effort. My friends and family appreciate the personal touch, and I feel happy knowing that my hobby can bring joy to others. Sharing also teaches me to handle feedback gracefully. Not everyone will have the same taste or opinion. Some people may not like certain styles or color choices. At first, it was hard to accept criticism. But over time, I have learned to listen carefully, learn from valid points, and continue creating in my own style. Constructive feedback helps me grow, while negative comments are opportunities to develop resilience and confidence. One of the biggest joys of sharing is inspiration. When I show my work to others, I sometimes receive questions like, "How do you make your drawings so lively?" or "Can you teach me to draw too?" These questions inspire me to explore new techniques, improve my skills, and think creatively. Sharing creates a positive cycle. My hobby inspires others, and their curiosity inspires me. I also connect with people by documenting my journey. I keep a sketchbook where I write notes, practice ideas, and track my progress. Sharing photos of this sketchbook online or in class shows my growth. People notice improvement over time, and it encourages them to start or continue their own hobbies. Seeing progress motivates everyone. Sometimes, sharing my hobby leads to opportunities one did not expect. I have been invited to join local exhibitions, workshops, and online collaborations. These experiences expand my horizons and expose me to new ideas. I learn to present my work professionally, explain my techniques, and discuss my creative choices. These experiences build confidence and communication skills. Sharing my hobby also strengthens relationships. My friends who share the same interest become collaborators and supporters. Even friends who do not draw still enjoy watching my work or learning about my process. My family takes pride in my dedication and achievements. Through sharing, I realize that a hobby can connect people, build friendships, and strengthen bonds. Sometimes, the joy of sharing goes beyond praise. When someone tells me that my drawing inspired them to start a hobby, I feel truly rewarded. Knowing that my efforts have a positive effect on someone else gives my hobby deeper meaning. It reminds me that creativity is not just personal, it is shared, multiplied, and celebrated. In sharing my hobby, I also learn to communicate better. I explain my ideas, demonstrate techniques, and discuss artistic choices. These conversations improve my vocabulary, expression, and clarity. Over time, I notice that I am not only improving my hobby skills but also my ability to communicate effectively. Finally, sharing makes me reflect on my journey. I see how much I have grown from my first hesitant attempts to the confident drawings I create now. Sharing allows me to celebrate progress, acknowledge effort, and plan for future improvement. It reminds me that creativity is a continuous journey, and connection with others enriches the experience. My dear friends, this was the story of sharing my hobby and connecting with others. Sharing brings joy, feedback, inspiration, and growth. In the next episode, we will explore how my hobby influences my daily life, my mood, and my personal development. Get ready to listen to Episode 5. Episode 5: How my hobby influences my daily life. My hobby has become an important part of my daily life. Every day, I set aside time to engage in it, whether it is drawing, painting, or simply practicing new techniques. This routine gives structure to my day and brings balance between schoolwork, family responsibilities, and personal time. When I wake up in the morning, I often think about what I want to create or practice today. It motivates me to start the day with a positive mindset. Even small daily sessions make a difference. Spending 20 or 30 minutes drawing after school helps me relax and recharge. It is a form of mindfulness. While I focus on lines, colors, and shapes, I forget stress, worries, and distractions. My mind becomes calm, and I feel present in the moment. This daily practice not only improves my skills but also contributes to my mental well-being. My hobby also influences how I organize my day. I plan my schedule to include creative time. I keep my art supplies ready, so I can use even short breaks productively. Having a clear plan makes me feel in control and reduces stress. I notice that when I skip my creative time, I feel restless and less focused. Engaging with my hobby gives me energy, inspiration, and a sense of accomplishment. Sometimes, my hobby affects how I approach other responsibilities. When I tackle a school project, I use creativity learned from my hobby. I think about colors, design, and presentation. I notice that skills like patience, observation, and attention to detail, developed through my hobby, help me succeed in academics and other areas of life. Creativity is not limited to the art itself, it spreads into problem solving and critical thinking. Having a hobby also improves my mood. On difficult days, when I feel stressed or overwhelmed, spending time with my drawings or projects makes me happy. It is a safe space where I can express my feelings without words. Sometimes, I draw abstract shapes to release tension, and other times, I illustrate scenes that bring joy. These moments remind me that happiness can come from simple, daily habits. Another impact of my hobby is personal growth. It teaches me perseverance. Learning new techniques is often challenging. There are times when I struggle with a drawing, make mistakes, or feel unsatisfied with the result. Instead of giving up, I try again. I experiment, practice, and learn from failures. Over time, I notice improvement, and this persistence transfers to other areas of life. I am more patient and determined. My hobby also enhances my observational skills. While drawing landscapes, people, or objects, I pay attention to small details, shadows, light, expressions, and movements. This awareness helps me in daily life. I notice patterns, understand situations better, and become more mindful of my surroundings. Observation is a skill that improves with practice and enriches both my art and my everyday experiences. Sometimes, my hobby inspires me to set goals. I want to complete a sketchbook, learn a new technique, or participate in an exhibition. Setting goals gives my life direction and purpose. I break these goals into small steps, which makes them achievable. Daily practice is the key. I celebrate small successes, like finishing a drawing or learning a new style. Each small success motivates me to continue and grow. My hobby also strengthens my time management skills. Balancing school, homework, family, and personal interests requires planning. I learn to prioritize, allocate time effectively, and remain disciplined. Even when I feel tired, I make time for creativity. This discipline benefits me in studies and other responsibilities. Time management is an essential life skill that I develop through my daily engagement with my hobby. Sometimes, my hobby becomes a way to connect with others in daily life. I draw something for a friend, discuss techniques with classmates, or collaborate on creative projects. These small interactions make my day richer and more meaningful. Creativity is a social bridge, even in small, everyday moments. Sharing ideas and experiences fosters communication, empathy, and understanding. Another influence is self-confidence. Every completed drawing or project reminds me of my progress and dedication. I feel proud of my effort, creativity, and patience. This confidence extends to school, family interactions, and social situations. I notice that when I trust my abilities, I approach challenges with optimism. Confidence grows step by step, day by day, through consistent practice. My hobby also encourages reflection. At the end of each day, I review what I created, what worked well, and what I can improve. Reflection helps me set new goals, recognize achievements, and plan for future growth. Daily engagement makes this reflection meaningful. Over time, I notice significant improvement in both skill and mindset. Sometimes, my hobby inspires other aspects of my life. It encourages curiosity, creativity, and innovation in school projects, storytelling, and problem solving. I start to think in new ways, connect ideas, and explore solutions beyond conventional approaches. The hobby becomes a tool for personal development and continuous learning. The influence of my hobby is also visible in my emotions. Drawing or creating daily gives me calmness and joy. Even small sketches can brighten my day. It teaches me to appreciate small achievements and moments. I understand that happiness comes from effort, creativity, and presence, not just external events. Furthermore, my hobby encourages gratitude. I appreciate the ability to create, the tools I have, and the time I can dedicate. I feel thankful for supportive family, friends, teachers, and mentors who encourage my passion. Gratitude enhances the positive impact of my hobby on my daily life. Daily practice also builds resilience. Challenges, mistakes, or unsatisfactory results no longer discourage me. I see them as part of the learning process. Each small failure teaches me something valuable. Over time, resilience grows naturally, making me more confident in life's challenges. My hobby also adds joy to routine activities. Even during breaks, school, or chores, I think about creative ideas, plan sketches, or imagine new techniques. Creativity becomes part of my thinking process, enhancing every day. It brings excitement, imagination, and inspiration into ordinary moments. Another daily influence is discipline. Engaging in a hobby consistently requires commitment. I learn to dedicate specific time slots, follow steps, and remain patient with the process. Discipline developed through daily practice supports other areas of my life, like studying, organization, and personal responsibility. Daily engagement in my hobby also develops problem-solving skills. When a drawing does not go as planned, I experiment with solutions, adjust colors, or modify techniques. These problem-solving strategies are transferable to academic or personal challenges. Creativity and critical thinking strengthen together through daily practice. My hobby impacts my creativity beyond art. I think differently about writing, projects, and even social situations. I explore imaginative ideas, connect concepts in unique ways, and experiment with new approaches. Daily engagement encourages innovation and original thinking. The influence on emotions, confidence, mindfulness, creativity, reflection, problem-solving, and time management shows that my hobby is more than just a pastime. It is a way of life, a daily companion that shapes my personality, routines, and outlook. Every day, I grow a little, learn a little, and feel a little happier because of it. Finally, daily engagement also strengthens patience. Creating something meaningful requires time and care. I have learned that speed is not important, but consistency, attention, and effort matter most. Patience cultivated through daily practice benefits every aspect of my life. My dear friends, this was the story of how my hobby influences my daily life. Daily practice brings growth, happiness, creativity, and self-confidence. It shapes routines, strengthens skills, and enhances personal development. In the next episode, we will talk about the joys of pursuing my hobby long-term and how it continues to inspire me. Get ready to listen to Episode 6. Episode 6: Long-Term Joys and Lifelong Benefits of My Hobby. Practicing my favorite hobby over a long period has brought me happiness, growth, and a deep sense of satisfaction. Every day I spend time on it, I notice small improvements in my skills, creativity, and confidence. These improvements accumulate over weeks, months, and years, giving me a real sense of progress. When I look back at what I did at the beginning, I can see how far I have come. This reflection motivates me to continue and to challenge myself further. One of the most valuable aspects of a long-term hobby is the sense of achievement it gives. Completing a project, learning a new technique, or reaching a personal goal fills me with pride. The effort, patience, and focus required make the results even more meaningful. Sometimes, I face challenges that seem difficult at first. A painting might not turn out as I imagined, or a project might take longer than expected. But I remind myself that persistence and practice are key. Every mistake is a chance to learn something new and improve for the next time. My hobby has also taught me patience. Waiting for a painting to dry, learning a new skill step by step, or practicing something repeatedly can be challenging. However, I have learned that patience is essential not only for the hobby but also for life. It allows me to enjoy the process instead of rushing to the results. By being patient, I notice small improvements that I might otherwise miss. This skill extends to schoolwork, relationships, and daily challenges. Creativity is another benefit I gain from my hobby. I learn to see the world differently, imagine new possibilities, and express myself uniquely. Creativity helps me solve problems in innovative ways, not only in my hobby but also in other areas of my life. I feel inspired when I combine colors, shapes, ideas, or actions in new ways. Even small creative solutions give me confidence and a sense of accomplishment. Another important aspect is consistency. Doing something regularly builds discipline. Even when I am tired or busy, spending a short time on my hobby helps me maintain skills and progress. I notice how small, repeated efforts accumulate into significant achievements over time. This habit teaches me responsibility and helps me manage my time wisely. Sharing my hobby with others also adds meaning. Sometimes I show my work to friends or family, or I join a group of people with the same interest. Their feedback encourages me and gives me new ideas. Teaching others, giving advice, or simply enjoying a shared activity makes the experience even more rewarding. I have learned that connection and collaboration enhance the joy of any hobby. Long-term practice also improves self-confidence. As I see my abilities grow, I feel proud and motivated. I know that I am capable of learning, improving, and achieving goals. Even small successes reinforce my belief in myself. Every completed project or skill mastered reminds me that effort and dedication lead to growth. Over time, my hobby has become more than just an activity. It is a source of relaxation, inspiration, and joy. It helps me manage stress, think creatively, and stay motivated in other areas of life. I look forward to each session because it brings peace and satisfaction. My hobby also reminds me to celebrate small achievements and enjoy the process, not only the results. Reflecting on all these benefits, I realize that hobbies are essential for personal growth and happiness. They teach patience, discipline, creativity, responsibility, and perseverance. They encourage self-expression and provide moments of relaxation and joy. Through hobbies, we discover our strengths, overcome challenges, and continue learning in a fun and meaningful way. After spending so much time on my hobby, I like to reflect on all the lessons I have learned. Practicing my hobby is not just about fun, it is about developing skills that help me in life. I think about how I organized my time, focused on details, and practiced patiently. Each session taught me something valuable. Reflecting on these experiences helps me recognize my growth and areas I can improve. I noticed that discipline and consistency are two of the most important lessons. Practicing regularly, setting small goals, and completing tasks step by step help me improve efficiently. Without discipline, I might forget techniques, lose motivation, or feel frustrated. Being consistent also gives me confidence and satisfaction every time I see progress. Patience is another key skill I developed. Not every project goes perfectly, and learning new skills takes time. Instead of feeling frustrated, I practice staying calm, focused, and positive. This patience helps me not only in my hobby but also in school, friendships, and daily life. It teaches me to face challenges with a clear mind and steady heart. Creativity and self-expression are also essential lessons. Through my hobby, I learned to try new ideas, think outside the box, and express my feelings in unique ways. Creativity improves problem-solving skills, decision-making, and even how I approach other activities in life. I notice how imagination and innovation make everything more enjoyable and meaningful. Sharing my hobby with others has taught me social and communication skills. Giving advice, receiving feedback, or simply enjoying shared experiences strengthens my connections with people. Collaboration and support enhance my motivation and help me see things from different perspectives. Even small interactions create joy and encouragement. Reflecting on personal growth, I realize that my hobby teaches more than just technical skills. It develops patience, organization, creativity, responsibility, and perseverance. Every small effort contributes to bigger achievements. Simple actions, like planning a session, trying a new technique, or reflecting on progress, make a big difference over time. Finally, I plan for future sessions and set new goals. I write a checklist of projects I want to complete, techniques to practice, and ideas to explore. Planning ahead reduces stress, gives focus, and ensures continuous improvement. I also practice English by reading or describing my work, which enhances communication and vocabulary. Step by step, every effort strengthens my skills and confidence. Now, I take a deep breath and feel proud of my journey. My hobby may seem like a small part of my life, but it is full of lessons, growth, and happiness. From daily practice to reflection, each moment contributes to personal development and lifelong skills. I smile, feeling motivated and ready for new projects. Dear friends, our journey through my favorite hobby has come to an end. We explored how practicing daily, overcoming challenges, being patient, staying disciplined, expressing creativity, and sharing experiences all create personal growth and joy. I hope you enjoyed learning not only about my hobby but also how to develop skills, practice English, and grow as a person. Remember, small daily efforts lead to significant improvements. Every practice, every idea, and every reflection contributes to growth. I encourage you to apply these lessons in your own life. Be consistent, practice patiently, express creativity, and reflect on progress. Keep a notebook, write down experiences, and practice regularly. Step by step, your skills, confidence, and happiness will grow. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Keep smiling, stay positive, and enjoy every small learning moment in life. Until next time, take care, be patient, and continue pursuing your passions with dedication and joy.